So there are three broad ways in which insanity shows up in life. One is as an unconscious affliction. Two is as a positive expression or a positive pronunciation. And three is as an edge of exploration. When it is an unconscious affliction, that means you have a neuroses, you have a quality of mind or being that is hurtful to you. You can't enjoy your own life of being who you are because you have a terrible way of thinking. You have tangles in your being. When it is a positive exploration, positive pronunciation, I should say, when it is a positive pronunciation, that means your madness has turned into something creative. Now, you see this in sports when something is going on and the commentator says, "This is madness." Yes, and it means that a sports star has done something incredibly accomplished. You see this in music when you say, that piano player is insane. That was an insane show that piano player put on, or that musician, whatever it is. And you even see this in literature. Yes, take for example, Stephen King. You can listen to his horror stories, his horror movies, and you think, that's so dark, that's so evil, that's so insane, and yet there's something very creative about his stories. There's something very creative about Stephen King, one of the most accomplished writers of a generation. Now, you can also see insanity as an edge of exploration. You see this as something, I could consciously go into this and see what are the boundaries. Where exactly is this boundary between sanity and clarity? Where is this thing that I sense as an edge that if I fall off, I might not come back? And you can see this in psychedelics, when you take certain substances to explore your consciousness. You can see this in meditation retreats, when you're going into silence and you've got nothing but your mind and you alone in a room for days on end. And you can see this in dance, yes? When you get told as instructions to dance like a madman, then you can move your body in such a way that there is an insanity to it. Now, of course, when you do this consciously and you do this with your own autonomy, you're going into it in a very different way than having a bodily movement that is insane, that is unconscious, as an affliction, yes? When you do it consciously, you can see, there's a dance movement that occurs that brings out a certain experience within me. If I dance like a madman, I see the thing that has the intention behind the madness, and I see the actual quality of the madness. There's a flavor there. Now, you're in your own world, you're in your own place, you're in your own edge. It's an exploration. It's a kind of thing to see within yourself, and it's very much personal. It's very much to your own way of experiencing. You can get a lot out of saying, I'm going to dance like a madman in a certain, hopefully with a certain structure or a kind of support, what would you call it, like a constructed environment you would need, right? So you'd need the right music, you'd need the right place, and ideally you would use facilitators, yeah? Just like if you're taking psychedelics for consciousness exploration, you need to have a certain structure to it, There's a ritual, there's a set and setting, there's a state of mind, there's a psychology to it. Now, of course, psychedelics is a good example of this thing of insanity, because you can have a positive experience of psychedelics and an exploration of insanity that can be very beautiful, but it can also be very dark. It can be very hurtful. It can be very much a psychosis, a neurosis, a psychological affliction, and that brings it back to an unconscious affliction, yes? Now, in the unconscious affliction, to say a little bit more about that, that's when you have a state of mind that you're walking around with that is no good to you. Now, a lot of people don't even realize this, and this is why it's unconscious. And you know it in a certain sense, but you also don't know it in a certain sense. You know it is like, I know my mind is not a friend to me, but I don't know how or why or what to do about it. Yes? Now, in neuroses, in tangles of the mind, there are many qualities to this. Often, a person will hear something that is said as a small snippet of something and take that out of context and then have that small thing going around and around in their mind. It's repeated over and over again, like a hammer hammering into the mind. And of course, if that person could just take that snippet and expand it out into a larger context, it wouldn't be a neuroses, there'd be a clarity. Now, there is also a thing in the quality of mind, which goes by how often something changes, how much dissonance there is, yeah? If you see a guy talking on the street, and he's talking about one thing, and then he changes to another thing, and then he changes to another thing, and then there's different subjects. There's no flow from one subject to another. There's no harmony, yes? Now, when we talk about clarity of mind, we often mean that a subject is spoken about, and then you move into the next subject, and then you move into the next subject. Yeah, so right here, we're talking about insanity, and everything I'm saying is sort of under the same thing, right? But if I start talking about politics all of a sudden, and it's not used as an example, it's not connected to what we're talking about here, then it's a sudden break. Yeah, it's some sort of disharmony. It's a dissonance. Yeah. So quality of mind is very much about how much flow there is. Now there is also the thing about how much space there is and how much silence there is. When someone talks very fast and they have a lot of words and they have a lot of different ideas and lots of information in one, then there's a kind of insanity to that, which is very different to speaking slowly, speaking clearly, having only just a few words and having only just a few ideas at a time. So quality of mind is something that we can... Now, the other funny thing, sorry to cut around too much, but the other funny thing I wanted to mention about politics is that we could say that the politicians are insane in their evilness, and they could serve as an example. But to bring this back, quality of mind is something that we could probably say quite a lot about. But fundamentally, quality of mind is insane when you have an unconscious affliction. That means the mind that you have hurts you. It's not nice to live inside it, and you don't know why. You're unconscious as to why or how it has been this way or how to get out of it. Now, how do you get out of insanity? Well, you go into positive pronunciation. You use your craziness for creativity. You embrace it. Yeah, there's something very much empowering about saying, yes, I'm mad, yes, I'm different, yes, I'm weird. Often we use the word weird instead of insane. And I think at some point I would like to do a full comprehensive guide of all the related words, yeah? Now, sometimes we say someone is weird. Sometimes we say someone is a psycho bitch. Yes, you've seen this in someone who snaps or someone who says something very hurtful or something very harsh. So there's very nasty labels that we can put on people, that we often put on people when there's some sort of disharmony. But turning this madness into something positive is really the key. And the way you do that is through having an edge of exploration, which means doing the dance technique, exploring psychedelics if you're psychologically stable enough, doing meditation or having time alone, time in silence to work with what it is that you're doing in your mind, right? That's the powerful thing. Now, a silent retreat is very extreme. It's an extreme thing to shut off from the world and sit in a padded cell for 10 days and just have you in your mind, right? So there's something very much revealing about that, but it takes an extreme process in order to have that understanding, to have that opening of your mind. And when you have silence without stimulation, then you learn a lot about your mind and what it is, and you can actually see this line, right? You see the edge between insanity and clarity, between noise and silence. And as soon as you see the edge, something new opens up. There's a new awareness. There's a new conscious understanding. So this is just a little bit of an introduction. I hope that I could do a full comprehensive guide to insanity. It will be a full-length series, if that's what you would like, and we would systematically break it down with all the terminology and all of the techniques and systems and all the psychology and all of it, yeah? Fully comprehensive. If that's something you would like, please do subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment as to what you would think and how you would receive that. I'll be back very soon with the next one.